Hey everybody, it's Rory from A&S Gear, and we're upstairs at the table like we normally do. We're gonna try something a little different though. We're gonna start putting out videos from my bench downstairs where I normally do all of my work and servicing guns. We're gonna start a line of videos that is going to help you become a more confident, better paintball player when it comes to managing your own gear. How to fix your guns, common problems that I see with equipment, how to fix tanks, loaders, all those things that we always get questions about. Hopefully these videos can help you solve your own problems and not be relying on someone else to do for you. So I'm trying to help you out, make you a more confident, better paintball player. So watch the videos. We're going to upload all sorts of content. Thanks for watching ansgear.com. Okay, so this morning we've got a TiPX right here that was sent in for leaking issues. Now, because the TiPX is self-enclosed with the CO2 cartridge, it's really kind of hard to figure out where the leaks are coming from sometimes. So you can hear it. And you can kind of see like CO2 kind of coming out of there. You see that kind of like, you kind of see it leaking from right there. So I'm assuming that it's coming out of the back side of the valve where the CO2 cartridge is in there. It's not sealing, or there's a bad O-ring in the puncture valve assembly, and it's leaking out of there. It shoots, but it seems like it's leaking from right there, not back here. I don't hear really anything out of here. So get that gone there. We're gonna throw that in the trash can and then miss. So I need to go pick that up. Much better. Trash can's not that far away either. All right. So we're going to open this up real quick. These aren't hard to take apart. I've got the gas out, magazine out, and I'm not going to take these screws all the way out. Well, I guess I can. There's only 3 screw lengths on this gun. There's a bunch of medium-sized screws, which are around the gun. There's, when I say screws, there's for outside screws. So these are all the same length. There's one long one and 2 short ones, and all the rest are medium length. The long one is in the middle right here. So this is the long screw. And we're going to reuse that screw in just a minute. The 2 short ones are up at the front right here on the bottom, right above the rail. So 2 shorts right there, and then one more medium length screw. All right, so medium, long, medium, 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 short, short. That way you can lump them all together and you don't need to keep them together, or separate, I should say. When we pull this up, we're going to just kind of work our way around, but we do want to hold on to the barrel shroud up here at the front. And this will help keep things from wanting to blow apart on us when we lift this up, but it still can happen, and it will just kind of pop apart. I'm holding both the sections down right now. I'm holding the breech assembly down, and I'm holding the barrel shroud down. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my long screw and I'm going to run it back through the top right here. I'm going to screw it back together, and this will hold the breech assembly in place right there. I don't really need that in there. So now this is in here. This is our trigger assembly, or a mag release. You can take that out of there. Sorry, got a bit of a cold today. What I'm going to do now is I am going to I'm going to gas this thing up. I'm going to try to gas this thing up. We saw it bubbling out from here. Let's just fix it. I'm not going to gas it up.
What I've done in the past is like certain times I have a leak going on back here or something is happening, and again, it's hard to troubleshoot if you forgot it back here because everything's closed up. What I'll do is I will install the remote adapter in here, and then clamp all this stuff down with like some of these grips so that I'll have the gun open like this and then still gas it up. And that is something that you'd be very, very careful with. If you're going to run high pressure air into this system and have it exposed like this, it's very easy to hurt yourself or have things blow apart or whatever. So that's something that I would be extremely careful with if I was doing. But this is going to just help hold this assembly together. Just kind of looking around here. Our front seal looks really nice inside there right now. But we'll probably take it apart just to look at it and maybe replace the O-ring. And then we'll probably replace this O-ring on this section of the transfer tube that goes in there. Because if we had a leak and we saw the leak that was going on, it was like CO2 bubbling, or not bubbling, but like flaking right here. This is really the only thing in that area that would cause us to see it right here. Nothing back in this section is going to manifest a leak up here. So this is really where I want to focus my attention on. So let's do that. I am going to inspect this real quick. And this seems pretty dry. I don't feel any like grease on this or anything, which could be part of the issue. And because there's no grease on the O-ring, it's possible that the O-ring, because of that, and the cold CO2 coming through there, has failed without any grease or anything. I mean, the O-ring looks good. I'm going to replace it anyway, though. And then let's open this up real quick before I need to grab anything. So at the front of this valve assembly, or the puncture assembly, does have a snap ring. So we're going to pull that apart. These are super handy, these snap ring pliers, because it allows me to switch between, if I squeeze this, it brings the snap ring together, or if I flip these over, when I squeeze, it spreads them apart. So I've got both on this set here. Anytime you're working with snap rings and you squeeze them down, try to cover them so that when they go shooting off and all over the place, you don't lose them. So we've got our snap ring, our plate, it's kind of like our reg seat housing right there, pin spring, this spring, our reg seat spring, that's the back of that, and our pin itself, like that. So I've seen a lot of these come in where people have taken this apart, and this O-ring that sits right down here, it looks like it should fit in this little groove that's right along there. It doesn't. It does go just on the back side like that. So that is normal. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to replace this O-ring right here. I'm going to replace this O-ring that's on here. I'm going to replace this O-ring on the back of this. And then I'm going to put it back together and gas it up and see what happens. So let me go collect those, a couple O-rings. I didn't grab any parts that I might need because I didn't really know what was going on with the gun beforehand. And when you see me back, we'll have the parts. We'll put it back together. Okay, so I've gathered up some parts right here. I've got my replacement O-rings that I'm going to put on there. So let's go ahead and just throw the O-rings on real quick, and then we'll see if this solves our problem. So we're going to change out that O-ring. We're going to change this one. And then I'm going to change both of these O-rings on this gas line here, just to be safe. All right. Now we can go ahead and put this back together. I'm going to clean the inside of that out just a little bit before I do, though. See, I go through a lot of Q-tips. All right, so we're going to drop that down in there.
Hey, look at this boy.
I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to put this spring back on there. I'm going to put a little bit on here. Put that over the top of that. We want to make sure that we can push that down in there. This goes on the top of that. And then the trickiest part of all is getting this snap ring in while pushing this down. Just like that. All right, that's looking good. Let's go ahead and put a little bit on there. We're going to also put a little bit in there where those two are going to line up with each other. A little bit on there. A little bit on there. Put that there. Together as one. And there we go. All right, looking good. Now it's just time to put it back together. Let's put my breech or my barrel shroud back in there. I'm going to put my mag release back in there. I'm going to put my safety in there. And then I'm going to grab my Allen key. And I'm going to remove this screw that's in here. And I'm not going to let go from this point. I'm going to line my safety up and drop that through there. And then at the same time, our mag release, we have to pull it because it always wants to get trapped underneath the grip. I'm going to pull it to the side, and that will allow it to pop up, and I should be able to push everything into place. It's really important to keep this, the breech, and the bolt assembly back here, and the regulator all in the right spot. And you have to keep constant pressure on these pieces, otherwise they'll pop up like that. So now we can put this one back in. Our two shorties in the front bottom, and then our medium length ones go all the way around. hopefully this solves our problem of our leak. If not, we'll have to go exploring again. But this should do it, because there's really only a couple places for that leak to manifest itself from this area. You know, that's right behind the trigger assembly. Barrel in. CO2 cartridge. Put our cap on. Still leaking. And you can see it really coming out of there. You know, the one thing I didn't change, which I probably should have, was the seat that the CO2 pushes up against. That could have been it. It could also be that that I'm not pushing hard enough on the CO2 cartridge. That this gap right here is not enough. So I'm going to try one other thing real quick before we pause the video and go at this a different route. I'm going to lengthen this a little bit and see if that's what's causing. Sounds even worse. You know it. All right. Well, so that wasn't it. So these O-rings that I replaced, which I'm going to save to the side right here, might not have even been bad. But we're going to get to that. But for the time being, I do have some other things I need to do. So I'm going to set this right here and you'll see me back in just a minute. Assembly, and I've got a clamp holding my regulator assembly back here. This should allow me to gas the gun up and then see where all my or any potential problems are. So let's hope for the best here. Oh my, there we go. That wasn't all the way down. Oh, and my safety. There we go. Not getting any puncture in there. That's because this is pushed too far forward, I bet. All right, so let's try to change this around real quick. I don't need that in there right now. Superfluous. Yeah, that's got to be up there like that. That's got to be down in there like that. Now we can clamp that down. So that can't move there, because that valve can actually slide around in there a little bit. So that's in there. still not getting the push we need on there. What's going on here? Let's see here. Oh, my nose is running. Wheels are coming off. There's that. Back in there now. Let's get this back in here. Let's get this back in here. We're getting plenty of travel and movement now. All right. So let's get this locked back down. Push this here, that there, throw that on the ground. Am I for some reason putting in an empty CO2 cartridge? Maybe that's what I'm doing. Nope. All right, something's going on here. I'm going to pause this and figure it out. So I've got it back together, and what I found my problem was is because I don't have the other side of the frame on here, the trigger is able to kind of flop back, and so I'm not getting the full range of motion when I'm pulling the trigger. And so I kind of have to, I'm gonna have to push this forward as I gas it up, I think. Just hold on to it like that so the trigger can't rock back, because this pin should be stuck into the other side and holding it all forward. So I'm still getting that leak from around the bottom down here is where it's coming out. Down in here. So I'm gonna go in again and check, and maybe that O-ring that I had on the bottom was just bad, was unfortunately bad. And or maybe there's an imperfection in the valve body itself, the puncture valve body. So I'm gonna see if I can replace that real quick, and then we'll be back at it. So let me go try to round up some parts on that too. So I went and got a brand new reg seat body, new O-ring for the bottom, new puncture pin just in case the puncture pin that I had or was stock inside there had a defect on the bottom side that was causing a leak. That's really all I can think of. There's no way that that can cause the problem. Let's get this out again, like deja vu. All right, so save this top plate. The plate's not causing the issue. The seat we're going to replace. This housing we're going to replace. Here is our spring, which is not going to be the issue, and that spring, which shouldn't be the issue, and then our pin and O-ring, which we're going to replace. So let's start with that. Let's take our new pin, new puncture pin, new O-ring, and put that up there. Let's re-grease the bottom. Actually, we're going to re-grease this cavity too. I'm going to put a little bit of grease on there. And slide that in. Slide on our spring. Slide on our other spring. Put our new reg seat into our housing. Get some new juice on that. Get that right there. Push that down in a little bit. Take our plate and put that over the top. Get our snap ring. Put that on the top. Let's do this first. Get our snap ring on our plier. Push it down and get it into place. Make sure that both of them are in the grooves. They are. Make sure that our pin is coming up and out. It is. Put our bottom on. That's good. Now I am going to be brave again, and I'm going to reassemble the whole thing. Because I mean, there's only so many places that can cause this leak to manifest, and we thought we had it the first time, but obviously we didn't. Then we opened it up and saw exactly where the leak was coming from, replaced those parts, and now should be good. So let's go through here. Remember, I got to hold this down. Got everything in there. I didn't lose my little window yet, which is good because those things love to come out of there. I like to line my safety up first, push it down. Don't snap everything down though. Get our mag release out of the way and then snap everything together. All right, little one, little one. Where are you, big? There you go. So we got big one in the middle, mediums everywhere else, except for the front two right here, which are the little ones. Let's keep our fingers crossed. That's the thing with working on guns. You think you got it. It should be super easy and straightforward. And you try it, you do it, and then it doesn't work. And then you're back in it again. Doesn't always work that way, but sometimes it does. All right. Fingers crossed. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yay! No leak. So possibly there was an issue with this seat. Possibly this O-ring that I pulled out of here to replace onto this one was just just faulty. Or we had an issue with this, or we had an issue with this. These O-rings that were on the gas line, I think are fine. I'm gonna put them back in my kit. They weren't causing the leak. So I'm not worried about them being bad or not good enough to go back in the kit. This stuff I am going to throw out because I don't know about that. And then our TiPX is fine. We can go back out. It was a long process to get to where we are, but we figured it out. There we go. See you next time.